Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Strong reaction to what happened on the Capitol grounds in Frankfort this weekend continues. Governor Andy Beshear addressed the protesters today who hung an effigy of him from a tree. He called the group a mob, saying it was just to instill fear. And he's also calling on some elected officials to take responsibility. Shelby Smithson explains as we continue our coronavirus coverage.
Mixed messages from Frankfort this weekend as protesters condemn the governor's decisions and counter-protesters praise them. But the message from Governor Andy Beshear Tuesday was crystal clear.
So let's start by calling it what it was and what it is. Actions aimed at creating fear and terror.
Those words in response to what the governor called a right-wing militia group that hanged an effigy of the governor from a tree on the grounds of the state capitol, with a phrase that's been linked to the assassination of President Abraham Lincoln. At that same protest, people walked right up to the governor's mansion windows, chanting for Beshear to come outside.
And there, just a window pane away from where my kids play, the mob chanted and heckled. Thankfully, my kids weren't there that day. But I want to remind you, they are 9 and 10 years old.
Not all of the messages were ones of hate. On the following day, someone used chalk to try to change the narrative that was set at the Capitol on Sunday. And in a more permanent method, state lawmakers and elected officials from both parties used Twitter to criticize the act, calling it hateful and vile. But Governor Beshear says it's some of those same leaders who were encouraging protesters just weeks earlier.
You cannot fan the flames and then condemn the fire. Those at the previous rally, those elected officials that embraced these individuals and that stood in front of people dressed in tactical gear and the rest and threw as much red meat as possible at them, they have to claim responsibility because they absolutely know what could have happened.
While this weekend it was division on full display, Governor Beshear still believes throughout this pandemic there have been far more examples of Kentucky's unity. In Frankfort, Shelby Smithson, WYMT Mountain News.
The governor did say they are going over security protocols at the governor's mansion, and they may be enforcing new security measures after this weekend's protest. In the past 3 days, more than 300 Kentuckians tested positive for COVID-19. That pushes Kentucky's total to just under 9,000 confirmed cases. Governor Beshear announced 3 more deaths today. At least 394 Kentuckians have died from the virus.
Well, we've seen that mixture of sun and clouds throughout the day. We saw those clouds increase a little bit later this afternoon with some scattered showers and storms, and well, that trend looks to continue even as we head into tomorrow. First, we'll take you up to a few of those cameras. Saw a lot of that sunshine over along Moorhead along Interstate 64. They saw that mixture of sun and clouds throughout the day, but then you could see that thicker cloud cover moving in just before sunset. Looking over into Whitesburg, pretty quiet out there right now. We are remaining on the drier side heading into tonight, which could be a little bit different heading into tomorrow. And as we go ahead and take you up to satellite and radar, you can see kind of the scattered showers and a few thunderstorms we saw earlier today. And we did not see any issues after a couple of days of some flash flooding and even some stronger storms. It was a little bit more on the calmer side today. Now heading into tonight, we will see those temperatures drop into about the low to mid 60s. Clouds will continue to increase, especially as we head into your Wednesday. We are going to see rain chances continue heading into really the rest of the week. We'll start to cool down even as we head into the end of the week, and possibly even into next week could start a drier trend as high pressure sets in. I'll have more details on that coming up in a little bit.
All right, Paige, thank you very much. Well, the number of U.S. deaths from COVID-19 is approaching 99,000. And as the number of cases of COVID-19 increase in some parts of the nation, in New York, once the epicenter of the virus, they are now experiencing all-time lows in case and death numbers. One Magoffin County native is in Manhattan on those front lines. WYMT's Lacey Roberts introduces us to Heath Ward.
As a first-year internal medicine resident at Mount Sinai Beth Israel Hospital,
I think we were all terrified.
Magoffin County native Heath Ward never expected to be at the center of the fight against COVID-19.
It went from kind of life, how we knew it, in the residency program, to kind of being turned upside down.
As New York City quickly became the epicenter, his rotations were canceled.
At the beginning of March, still nobody was wearing masks in New York. No one was, even in the hospital.
Things quickly took a turn. He found himself on the front lines working under the supervision of emergency room doctors.
Countless times where I saw patients of all ages come into the emergency room and they couldn't breathe.
As the days passed, personal protective gear dwindled.
Anxiety was, I think, at an all-time high because we didn't know if it was going to be us that was going to be laying in that hospital bed.
And like many of his colleagues,
I actually have antibodies to the coronavirus.
Now, past the peak,
COVID deaths being at an all-time low,
they have time to reflect.
I've noticed a lot more people in Central Park, a lot more people outside of restaurants getting takeout.
As parts of New York City and nation come back alive. Lacey Roberts, WYMT Mountain News.
Ward says right now there are around 300 COVID-19 patients in the entire Mount Sinai hospital system. Only 100 of those are in the ICU. At the height of the pandemic, there were just under 2,000 patients hospitalized. Well, Primary Care Centers of Eastern Kentucky is now offering COVID-19 antibody testing. The antibody test is a simple finger prick that gives you results in 5 minutes. The results will show if you have an acute infection or a past infection. Primary Care also sends the tests to other labs to double check the results. Many people wonder if they had the coronavirus earlier in the year. Primary Care says they had people show symptoms in January and February, but they are waiting on confirmation from a lab to see how far back the results will show. A nurse practitioner says the tests help with the reopening of our communities.
Benefits of the antibody test is one, for individuals to know if they have developed antibodies. If there's been a lot of people in our community who have antibodies already, then it makes it a little bit safer to open up and makes the risk less.
Primary Care offers antibody testing 7 days a week at the Hazard location. The test is $135 and is covered by insurance. If you do not have insurance, Primary Care can assist you in signing up for temporary insurance. For more information, you can call Primary Care at 606-439-1300. Phase 4 of healthcare reopening takes effect tomorrow. That includes non-emergency, non-urgent inpatient surgery. All patients will have to undergo a COVID-19 test before surgery. With past phases, each facility will also have to maintain a 14-day supply of PPE and at least 30% bed capacity, as well as in the ICU. Kentucky's legal system has been mostly on hold since March because of the pandemic, but in-person court hearings will start back next Monday. Judges are currently working on rules for each county. Laurel and Knox County's Commonwealth's attorney Jackie Steele says the biggest challenge will be picking a jury when the time comes for trials to resume.
We don't have any courtrooms in the Commonwealth that are big enough to hold 80 to 100 people just to start jury selection. So we suspect jury selection is going to be in stages.
Judges will make rules for their individual courtrooms based on direction from the Kentucky Supreme Court. Anyone who comes to court should expect to have to wear a mask. Today was the last day to register to vote in the June 23rd primary election. The election will be a little different due to the coronavirus. With social distancing measures in place, the focus is now on absentee voting. You can call the clerk's office to request an absentee ballot, or you can go online to request one at govoteky.org and fill out the request.
A lot of people's going online. We checked this morning, and as of 10 o'clock this morning, we had 600 people already request absentees. So there have been quite a few doing it online.
You can go in person to vote absentee by appointment from June 8th through June 22nd. One voting precinct will be open on Election Day in Perry County. That's at Perry Central High School from 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. More tourism locations are beginning to reopen after they were forced to close. In Harlan County, Portal 31 is back open as of this weekend. They are limiting the number of people who can go on the tour at a time to 10, as well as wiping everything down after every tour. All of this in an effort to get people back going through one of Eastern Kentucky's popular attractions.
We're conducting tours every hour now instead of every 45 minutes. That gives us plenty of time between tours to spray everything down, sanitize everything, and it also allows people just that little bit extra time to get on or off the tour so that they can keep that safe six feet distance in between them.
They are not requiring masks, but ask that people do wear them. Coming up at 11 on Sunday, flash flooding washed away cars, bridges, and even homes in isolated areas. Now many communities are just beginning to clean up. And while many of us do what we can to avoid them, researchers at UK are seeking out ticks. We'll tell you why.
Scattered showers and storms continue as we head into tomorrow, but how long will they last? I'll have that answer coming up.